Hello everybody, welcome back to the Five Guys Pokemon League. I am Charlie, captain of the Toxboxers, and I am joined by Leaf, captain of the Underworld.
Hi, how's it going?
I am going to be filling in for Robbie did the last one. I'm going to be filling in for Robbie for the next two or three recordings. But he'll be back. He'll be back after that. But anyway, we have a pretty high-powered battle here, to be honest, between Cameron and the Die Guys versus Jules and the Go-Goats. I think Jules is undefeated at this point.
Yeah, right now he's like I think 5 or 6-0,
Mm-hmm.
and hasn't had an incredible showing so far. I mean, like his team is really, really good. Like this is arguably his team two right here, except maybe the Mega Diancie, and like the Guja, and it's still like incredibly strong that you can see. Um, I mean, the one thing I'm noticing, like looking at this battle, is that on Jules' side of things, I mean, Silvally is a Pokemon that you can change its type, and I think whatever type he chooses in this battle is going to be extremely important. Whether he's going for that, like Aegislash or Corsola counter as like a Dark type, or maybe the Milotic as a Electric type.
Yeah, for sure. That'll definitely be something to look out for here. But that's kind of one of the strengths. I mean, speaking of strong teams, that's kind of one of the strengths of Cameron's team, where it's really hard to counter his whole team with one Pokemon. Because
Yeah,
there's always gonna be, that core of Milotic, Umbreon, Aegislash is always probably gonna be something that resists you or is gonna be able to heal back up.
yeah,
Um,
and he's got, I mean, yeah, the Umbreon Wish Pass, the Corsola Giant Wall, Melodic Giant Wall. Like, yeah, he's got a lot of bulky mons on this team.
Yeah,
So,
and they deal damage too, which is
oh yeah,
which
oh
is
yeah,
crazy. But I mean, speaking of those bulky Pokemon, if this Silvally is in fact like a Silvally Dark and is a check for Corsola and Aegislash, we could see very little resistance for or against Cameron's Milotic because the only other thing that I'm seeing on Jules' team that could potentially beat it is this Vikavolt, but if the
yeah.
Vikavolt is run as like a sticky web suicide lead type thing, it might not, be alive to actually deal with it. And otherwise, the only coverage that I'm seeing is a Power Whip out of Gudra or an Energy Ball out of Mesprit, and neither
And
of
even
those are going
those
to deal
like
that
don't,
much
yeah, they
damage.
don't do
Yeah.
that much. Yeah.
Hmm.
So, I guess let's see how the battle goes.
Oh, well, do we want to talk about the battle too a
Oh,
little bit?
yeah, yeah. Let's do that real
Yeah.
quick. Yeah.
Well, I mean, like I know you kind of pointed this out when we were looking at it, but this is very much a team one versus team two battle.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you see the Celesteela, the Noivern, the Rotom Heat, like there are so many giant heavy hitters on this team for Jules. And Cameron's team doesn't, I mean, besides like the Mega Ampharos, there's no real answer for that like Celesteela. And it's just sort of looking at the teams, I feel like there's Jules is very, very heavily favored going in. So it's going to take a lot of creativity on Cameron's part to pull out a win there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, depending on the hidden power, because I'm pretty sure this Ampharos is going to have hidden power on it, and depending on the hidden power type, it could maybe land an HP Grass on Swampert or an
Yeah.
HP Rock or HP Water on Rotom.
Yeah.
But it's not going to get coverage for everything. So yeah, like you said, Cameron's going to have to be pretty creative in this one.
Yep.
But yeah, let's go ahead and get into the battle.
Alrighty, so we see an opening with Corsola and the Vikavolt,
Hmm.
and that's the sticky web set that we were talking about in the intro.
Yeah, so given the fact that he led with it, and it's kind of this sticky web like pivot set, I have a feeling that it's not going to be super spec to deal with Milotic, or at least that
Nope.
wasn't really his intention. So we'll see if he identifies that and keeps playing around it, or if it's maybe he doesn't even have Thunderbolt, maybe it's sticky web, Roost, Bug Buzz, Volt Switch.
Yeah, and here's the Dartrix coming out. We've seen this Pokemon do a fair bit, this league.
Yeah, he brought it as a defogger against me, where I think it got a little bit of tech off, but that's probably an
Yeah.
HP Ice out of the Vikavolt, which means it's either not carrying Roost or Bug Buzz. But knowing that he has to face Umbreon in this matchup, I can't imagine he didn't bring Bug Buzz on it.
Yeah. And that bug stab is going to be huge against that Umbreon if we see that interaction.
Now here's the Mega Diancie, and for a Pokemon as like tech-based as Dartrix, it probably can't do much into that Magic Bounce, but a Giga Drain doing 53% is...
That's pretty big.
Yeah, that's more than I would have thought.
And that, I mean, we see them... Oh, wow, crit on the Moonblast. And the special attack drop is pretty big.
Yeah, now I don't know if he'll be... Yeah, he just switches out because I don't think he would have been able to KO there. And
No, not with the Flame Orb up.
But now we have this matchup that I'm pretty sure Jules really likes because no matter what Cameron switches into, he just gets a Volt Switch. Or if he hits a prediction, he can hit a Bug Buzz on Umbreon. But wow, looking at that, I don't even know if Bug Buzz would do that much.
No, not even.
Yeah, and it's Silvally.
17%.
It's Silvally Fairy, so...
Which is... I mean, that hits Umbreon.
It hits Umbreon. I'm trying to remember if it gets, like, Crunch or something, but... doing 43 to that Corso there is really big because then he can't stay in. The only downside is, you know, you obviously can't really do much damage to this Aegislash.
Yeah.
But there's a parting shot, so it looks to be more of a pivot set.
I really like that move on Silvally. I think it
really
gives it a lot of it kind of cripples that Aegislash. I mean, we see that doing 35% against a Goodra who's a notable special wall, and that's just I don't know. For a high attack Pokemon like Aegislash, like that's you can see the effectiveness of the parting shot.
Yeah, I know that Goodra probably doesn't get a ton that can deal much damage to the Aegislash or Umbreon. I mean, it gets Earthquake, but Aegislash just being able to not get the damage output that it otherwise would is huge for Jules.
These Stealth Rocks on Cameron's side, or the Stealth Rocks that Cameron put out at the beginning of the battle have been doing a bunch of work because we've sort of just been seeing switches back and forth.
We have.
And now we get the rocks back on Cameron's side now too. So.
And that's something that Jules like. Jules is a big switching guy. Jules switches a lot. So just being able to put those rocks up and putting him in a position where he can't really. It doesn't look like. I mean, I think Silvally gets defog, but outside of that, he can't really remove these rocks. And
I would really doubt he's running that on the fairy set.
Yeah, you see it on the pivot set sometimes, but just given how important Silvally probably is offensively in this battle, I'm not really sure if it'll be on that set. But...
We see a rest from the type null.
Yeah, so Rest Sleep Talk is a pretty standard type null set. It's just because of how bulky and its amazing defensive typing, but yeah, Jules is just kind of pivoting around. He put his own rocks up a while ago, maybe just trying to get Cameron to send in that Dartrix and just defog himself. But I think Cameron is content to just let... Ooh. Well, he switches out immediately, but that was kind of a nice read there.
That was a cool little tech. And the attempted HP recovery for the Corsola. Yeah. We might see a Wish pass here to something. I mean... Both teams have taken a lot of chip, but there's been, no KOs on either side, and we're on turn almost 25 here, so... Yeah,
and that Dazzling Gleam isn't even going to do enough to out-heal a Wish, so Umbreon's able to just take it down immediately with the Foul Play.
Yeah, that's the first Pokemon down for Jules.
Yeah, and I think it kind of... That's a pretty important Pokemon, just because that is one of the few Pokemon on his team that gets coverage for the Milotic, as Corsola just switches straight into the rocks. So that leads me to believe that Cameron is pretty content to just keep the hazards up. He doesn't really care about defogging right now, because he just wants Jules to take as much damage as he can from those. And,
from the switches.
Yeah, Aegislash hits a pretty weak Iron Head on the Vikavolt here. And just King Shields up. We'll probably see... Oh, there's Roost, so it's not carrying Bug Buzz.
Okay, interesting.
It might be a more defensive set then, and he just kind of thought that like it wasn't really worth running Bug Buzz if it's not going to deal over 50% to Umbreon. I guess I'm not really sure, but with the Silvally Fairy, you don't really need to bring it, you know, because you've got the coverage on Silvally.
I'm kind of curious though, like how Jules is gonna deal with this Umbreon, because it seems to be a very, very safe switch in for Cameron. like for the most part.
Yeah, now that Cameron has this info, it's a pretty easy switch into the Vikavolt a lot of the time. As Tauros is, unless Jules switches, is going to be able to pick this kill up on Type Null. Sorry.
Yeah.
Rarely do you see two versions of the same Pokemon line on the same
I
team.
know.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
Mm-hmm. I know a few
And
seasons ago we had the whole Magnemite line drafted, which was pretty funny.
I had Magnezone that season.
Yeah.
That was fun. And then we see that Tauros fall to a Moonblast from the Mega Diancie.
Mm-hmm. Now Tauros, while only being 2 points, although it probably needs to get moved up, is surprisingly one of Cameron's hardest hitters. As Jules just goes for a Calm Mind,
which is interesting.
I don't know about that decision. Maybe he was expecting Cameron to predict a double switch? I don't know. Yeah.
I also really don't know what that... I mean, the Mega Diancie's undoubtedly a very hard hitter, but like the rocks are already up, so that Magic Bounce isn't very good anymore. And there's not really much that it can do into the rest of this team.
Yeah, I'm just not really sure what he was expecting the Milotic to do. You know, like it just doesn't. Yeah. And now he's in a tough spot because he doesn't really have much
any recovery.
Yeah, any recovery or much to like into this Milotic anymore. I mean, obviously he still has Vikavolt, but Thunderbolt's able to take down Dartrix. But now Cameron could probably just switch in whatever he wants here. Yeah, Umbreon.
And I don't think the Goodra's gonna hit the Umbreon for anything really.
Oh,
I mean, you see a Focus Blast though. That's pretty big.
Yeah, that might have done something, but.
Yeah, but now we got the Wish and the Protect probably.
And he's just got to switch out into the Protect. But he reads it with a Foul Play and is able to pick up a little bit of damage on Vikavolt there. And maybe...
Yeah, that's some important damage. Oh yeah, we see that Roost coming out.
Yep, the Roost makes a lot of sense there as he's just able to get another Wish up. And we'll probably see a switch into Aegislash here if I were to guess. Yep.
Yep.
And a Volt Switch. Yep, there it is. But it's not going to do enough, and Aegislash will be able to heal back up pretty good.
And then probably kill this Goodra straight away.
Yeah, it gets about 60% of its HP back, and Vikavolt switches out, but I can't imagine whatever comes in isn't going to take a Shadow Claw. Oh, okay.
Oh, interesting. Another switch.
Yeah, so maybe a good read by Jules there, but the issue is if you can't really pressure this Umbreon, which he can't without Bug Buzz,
no,
it's just going to keep using Foul Play and using Wish, and as soon as Silvally comes in, Cameron's just going to switch Aegislash right back into it.
Yep. And it's sort of like a stall thing. I mean, he's got the Toxic up on that Vikavolt and doing a bit of chip every turn. Mm-hmm. And you see that Foul Play come out, and I mean, Silvally doesn't really have any restoration on it.
No, it other than potentially rest. And there's Crunch. Yeah, the other possible option would have been Flamethrower, but Crunch makes a lot more sense because Aegislash's defenses are even, and it's usually run specially defensive anyway, more than physically defensive. But yeah, Aegislash is just going to come out, Iron Head the Vikavolt, and the only recovery Jules has is Vikavolt, and the biggest thing is it can't pass to other things. So any damage Silvally and Goodra take at this point is permanent. Whereas with Cameron's team, if Milotic gets its own recovery, but if Aegislash takes a little bit of damage, all of a sudden, you know, Jules can't pressure out Umbreon and can't stop it from wishing without Silvally taking a little bit more damage. And
and those rocks are doing a bunch of work as we see that Goodra come in and get sacked.
And yeah, Goodra's normally AV, doesn't get the heavy duty boots, so...
Yeah. And I'm not really seeing any way for Jules to really come out on top here, which might lead to his first loss of the season.
Yeah, it's looking tough at this point. I mean, he's probably going to try to play around this Aegislash, maybe Volt Switch into like a Crunch, but I mean, I think at this point Milotic can just come in and kill that. And every time it switches in, it takes Stealth Rock damage. So there's the Iron Head. That's game.
And that should be it. Yep.
I mean, Vikavolt could always come back in, but the Toxic, because of that lack of Bug Buzz, it can't out heal the Umbreon, or it can't out damage the Umbreon, and
that Toxic is just gonna keep chipping away.
Yep. I'll go ahead and throw this into fast speed until the Toxic takes it down, but It should be. I think he's identified that. I think he realizes that, and he's just not going to roost. Yep, he's just going to keep going for full switches. And Cameron hands Jules his first loss of the season.
Great showing from Cameron here.
Yeah, this is
played really well.
This is probably the best example of just how insane that 3 Pokemon core is on his team.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you see that they're the last 3 alive.
Yeah,
too.
exactly. Yeah. But yeah, great showing from Cameron, and let's head into battle 2.
Yep.
Okay.
Alrighty. So we see a Rotom,
the
and
Ampharos lead. Maybe expecting like a Celesteela, but Swampert's just going to come in and shut down whatever it's going to do, unless that happens to be an HP Grass.
And you see that Dragon Pulse come out. Just a little bit of, about 30% of that.
Yep. And just switches straight onto Zarude, which is bulkier than people would expect. It's just that typing is not very good defensively.
Yeah, the quad weak to Bug is not exactly what you'd be looking for.
Quad weak to U-turn, weak to a wide variety of other types. It's yeah, not great. But he switches in Frogadier as it goes for the Icy Wind into the Noivern, which is that's pretty cool. I like that type.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
Slow it down a little bit, yeah. It looks like a defensive Celesteela this time as it goes into the Alakazam, but it's Thunder Wave on Alakazam rather than maybe a setup sweeper set. Huh.
We see that Alakazam taken down to 3%,
yes.
Which is, I mean, you can hardly even switch that in, especially if I don't know if Jules has any hazard setters on this team.
Well, Alakazam did look to be Magic Guard after it didn't take Leech Seed damage, so it'll at least be able to come in at some point. But there's Grass Knot on Frogadier, so it's looking like Cameron is going to have grass coverage on minimum 3, maybe even 4 if we see an Energy Ball on Alakazam.
Yeah, that Comfey's going to have Giga Drain for sure.
Yeah, that being said, though, I don't know if it's going to matter if he doesn't have grass coverage on Ampharos.
Yeah.
Yeah. As Heavy Slam still
and a
does.
big Heavy Slam.
Yeah, Close Combat doesn't do nearly as much as Cameron, I think, would have liked there, and Heavy Slam is going to punish him for that. Now, it won't do that much. Well, crit.
Oh, big, nice crit, yeah. Doesn't do that much damage though.
And here's that Swampert pivot as Jules is able, or not Jules, sorry, Cameron's able to get a Dragon Pulse on it, and Swampert doesn't have any recovery on its own, and it doesn't look like Jules has any Wish Passers, but yeah, it just puts those rocks up, and now Cameron's kind of in the same position as Jules is, or as Jules was last battle, where if he's going to have to keep switching to try to get these favorable advantages and get these predictions, he's just going to keep taking more and more and more chip damage.
Yeah, and we might see that Icy Wind come out again right here. Oh no, we see Grass Knot for a predict for the Swampert.
Yeah.
But that's not going to do anything really to Celesteela, and it actually just heals all that back up with leftovers.
Yeah, now we'll see if this is a rest talk set on Ampharos, because that's a set that I know people have liked using on Mega Ampharos in this league in the past.
Yeah, with Cotton Guard and...
Yep, Cotton Guard and whatever coverage move, and there's the rest. So this will probably be rest, Sleep Talk, Cotton Guard, Dragon Pulse is what I'm what I'm assuming. Unless he switches out and maybe it's not... maybe it's not Sleep Talk at all, in which case it might not be Cotton Guard at all. It might be it might just be Dragon Pulse Thunderbolt Hidden Power, but I don't know. Also
that's an interesting aromatherapy
for
the
so that's
to wake up.
Yeah, maybe that's the set that he was trying to go for.
I like that.
Yeah. And another oh, sorry.
Oh, you're good. Yeah, I was just saying, like, how this Celesteela is just a massive obstacle for Cameron in this battle. I mean, the Empress Mega is the only thing that causes that to switch out. Yeah. And another possibility here could be that the Ampharos has steel coverage on it, like an HP steel, for a potential Mega Diancie, when that's just not even in here, because teams don't get to change players don't get to change their teams between Battle 1 and Battle 2. So if you bring coverage for something that was on your opponent's Team 1, too bad. You just gotta have to roll with it for Game 2. So that's always a possibility as well. Given that would explain why we haven't seen like the HP grass for that Swampert, which is just a very, very safe switch in for Jules in this battle, and we've seen it every time that Mega Ampharos comes in.
Yeah, but geez, a stab Hydro Pump out of Frogadier only does 24 to... I mean, I know Frogadier is not necessarily the most, high-powered wall breaker in the game, but only 24 to Celesteela is pretty crazy still. And then there's
we just sort of see the I like how both of these players are really utilizing the switching mechanic in the game.
Mm-hmm.
They both really like switching, and we've seen rocks on both teams in both battles that sort of is just doing a bunch of chip to every Pokemon in the game.
Yeah, it's such a battle of positioning right now, where they're just trying to get favorable matchups and deal as much chip to each other as they can. Because no team really has like a setup or has like a cleanup sweeper. I guess maybe Lanoon, but it does take a turn to get going. And maybe Noivern, although Noivern's not really the strongest attacker in the game.
And a lot of Cameron's team, it is a team too, but they all still hit very hard. So it's going to be hard to put that Lanoon in for a little while on Jules' side.
Oh yeah, with I mean Ampharos, Alakazam, Golurk, even Frogadier and Zarude both. I mean the only one that isn't really a super hard hitter is Comfey, but if it gets a couple Calm Minds up, all of a sudden it can be just as dangerous.
Yeah. We see that rest again from the Mega Ampharos.
Mm-hmm. The only thing right now is with the way that this Celesteela is spec'd, and especially now with this Frogadier going down, I don't really know how Jules or how Cameron does damage to Jules' team now.
Yeah.
Because Celesteela is going to be here, and Rotom also is going to be here to switch into anything that might potentially hurt Swampert. And the Swampert can just come in on the Ampharos, which at this point is pretty, decidedly not carrying HP Grass. So
yeah. We see that Beast Boost come out for the Celesteela, which makes it even bigger of a wall.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, besides the Mega Ampharos, there's really nothing on Cameron's team that can even do damage to it anymore. And we just see that Heavy Slam come out and another Beast Boost from the Celesteela.
And at this point, I wouldn't even be surprised if a Thunderbolt didn't kill.
I wouldn't either.
I know Mega Ampharos has a ton of special attack, so there's a very good chance it still could, but it just clicks Dragon Pulse, so maybe he was expecting a switch into Swampert there. And that might have been his opportunity here. But never mind, the Thunderbolt doesn't even... Wow, 30%.
30%.
Crazy.
Yeah, for a stab move from a Mega Pokemon, that's very little.
It won't even kill from here either. Oh, with Protect especially? Yeah. So this one's looking pretty bad for Cameron, because if this Thunderbolt's only doing 30 to Celesteela, I don't even...
Yeah, that Leech Seed Protect set is just going to... I mean, we see a Paralyze come out, and maybe even a Thunderbolt won't even kill from here, so I don't think there's too much that Cameron can do against the Celesteela.
Yeah, between Leftovers, Leech Seed, and Protect, Cameron can't even outdamage it. Like, he has to just hope it's getting... he just has to hope it gets like paralyzed or whatever. But I'm gonna go ahead and throw this into fast, because if Cameron's resting, he might still be going for a win here. So I
see a Flamethrower come out, just kind of
just using PP elsewhere. That's not Protect.
While it's asleep.
Mm-hmm.
And then we might, I don't know. There's 27 on that one. I mean, the Leftovers and Leech Seed almost just heal all of that back up.
There's rest. So if I'm Jules, or if I'm Cameron, I'm expecting probably to switch into Swampert, and at that point, there's not much you can do. Or he's just gonna, I don't know, maybe he's just gonna wait out the rest. I'll throw it into Hyper Fast even, just because it's props to Cameron for still going for the win here. But at this point, it's looking pretty futile.
Yeah, pretty bleak. Yeah, I wouldn't say that there's a way for. I mean, I've already said it, but yeah, there's no way to break past the Celesteela wall.
Mm-hmm.
And the Mega Ampharos just doesn't have the...
I don't know really why Jules isn't just switching into Swampert as soon as it clicks Rest, and just going for 2 Earthquakes. I'm not really sure why he's not doing that, but...
we get a burn from that Flamethrower, which does even more damage per turn, but it just gets slapped again. Eventually, we might see...
Finally,
a Noivern.
Switch. It misses the
missed the
Draco
Draco
Meteor,
Meteor.
and he's just gonna
And
switch
we're
straight
back in the Celestial.
Yes, okay. There we go. So here's the
That's
thing
the Swampert.
that he probably should have done a little while ago.
Yeah.
He goes back into Celesteela, 2 Psychics.
Just to not risk losing a Pokemon, but wow, we see a 6-0 from Jules there. Very strong showing of his Team 1. Celesteela has a massive wall. I mean, Swampert and Noivern, like, utility, and Rotom Heat on that utility as well. Like, just sort of, or switch-ins for the things that might threaten.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
that trio of Swampert, Celesteela, Rotom, Heat just covers for each other's weaknesses so well.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure the only type between the 3 that they don't resist, that one of the other ones is weak to, is water.
Yeah.
So it's, yeah, like, between the one type, I think they're in a really good spot. And
Water
yeah,
doesn't even do much to, like, the Celesteela.
well,
as
we saw
from that,
we saw the
those
Hydro Pump
Pumps.
do like
Yeah.
25, yeah. But Jules bounces back and after his first loss of the season, comes back in commanding fashion and wins a 6-0,
Yep.
increasing his differential. And yeah, so
Yeah.
great performance in each battle from both teams. Honestly, they both won their battles in pretty dominant fashion, and I'm looking forward to seeing what these two teams do going forward.
Yep. Agreed.
Well, thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure you leave a like, subscribe. Robbie's not here, so I don't really know what to do for the comment thing that he always does, but
Something wall, something China, something.
comment
Communism.
we miss Robbie down below.
Yeah. I sure do.
Yeah, I do as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for watching, and we'll see you later. That felt long. That was